Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for attending today. I see everyone rolling in. So we're just going to give it a few seconds to let all the attendees come on in. Perfect. Numbers are going up and up. Good. So I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Samantha Blair. I am on the events team for Career Services. I also have Mariana with me and Diana, our wonderful moderator, who are also on the Career Services team. Before we get started, I just wanted to do a big thank you to our panelists today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules and sharing your expert insight, your knowledge with our students. We know that it's going to be so beneficial for them in their journey in our program. So thank you so much. Now on to just some quick housekeeping webinar notes. Obviously this is webinar format. We cannot see you, but we know that you are there. A couple ways we know that you're there are through the chat feature and through the Q&A box. So if you need anything, feel free to chat myself or chat Mariana, and we will do the best that we can to answer any questions or help you out. And with the Q&A box, we encourage you to ask any questions that pop up in your mind throughout the session. We have the live Q&A that will take place the last 10 or 15 minutes, where the panelists will answer as many questions as possible. But we encourage you to drop those questions in throughout the entire session, not just at the very end, so that we can get through as many as possible. This session is being recorded, and that will be sent to you and available so that you can rewatch it if you so please to do so. And lastly, there will be a 30-second survey that pops up at the end of this, and we highly encourage you to complete that for us. It is so beneficial for us to get your feedback, and it just helps us better each event for you. So please take the time to do that for us, and we appreciate it so much. So now I will kick it off to Diana to get us started.
Hi, everyone. First, I want to say a big thank you to our 3 guest speakers today. We have Srini. He is the CEO of West Advanced Technologies. He'll be introducing himself in a second. And then we also have Mark, who is the CEO of iNet. He's not on yet, but he should be coming on in just a few minutes. And then we have Megan, who is the HR generalist for Symmetry Lending. So if you guys could just quickly do an introduction and then tell us a little bit about your company as well. We'll start off with Srini. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong.
Sure.
Is it okay?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for having me. It's great meeting you all. The name is Srini Veeramasu. I work for West Advanced Technologies. The short name is WATI. I hope you can see it on my wallpaper. And so we as a company, we got started in 1998, actually in your neck of woods. When I say your neck of woods, Southern LA, County of Los Angeles. And by the way, County of Los Angeles is our first client, and they're still our client. And we provide information technology services, staff augmentation, taking up projects on turnkey basis on a variety of technologies, web, mobile, cloud, automation, and of course, cybersecurity. So that's what we do.
Very cool. Thank you so much. Megan, could you tell us a little bit about yourself as well as your company?
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. My name is Megan Lundell. I am an HR generalist at Symmetry Lending. I am the HR generalist over our recruiting efforts for our entire company. Symmetry Lending is a technology-based financial services company, and we specialize in mortgage loan fulfillment. We are a nationwide operation. We are headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, but we have offices throughout the country, including Yorba Linda, California, Orlando, Florida, Denver, Colorado, and the greater Minneapolis, Minnesota area. as well as doing business in about 36 states. So we are relatively new to the market. We've been around for about 3 years now. And in that time, we've grown very quickly. We've expanded across a lot of departments, including in our IT space. We continuously are growing and hiring there, which has certainly been a very rewarding thing. I have a background coming from working for Disney and for Bank of America, and I really liked just doing all the training and employee relations and employee engagement aspects that I did for those companies. And it seemed like a really natural progression to move into HR specifically and recruiting specifically. I've been on with our company since almost the very beginning. I was one of our first employees, kind of fell into this recruiting aspect and just love it and love the chance to talk more with candidates.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I want to get started on a few topics. Srinivas, I think this one, I think you can answer first because you're going to be more of the IT cybersecurity expert in this part. So please describe to us the path that got you to where you are today and what made you interested in the cybersecurity industry and becoming an IT expert.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, we have been in this business for a long time, about 23 years. So we got started in 1998. I don't know if some of your students are actually born back then. So in our line of work, IT industry, things are always changing. So you got to keep up, even to stay relevant. So we are always preparing, always looking out for the next big thing. And when we got started, it was web technologies. In fact, that's how we got into business. And then, big data became the next big buzzword, followed by cloud, followed by automation. So every few years, something new is coming up. So we got to kind of be prepared for it. So 2 years ago, we identified cybersecurity to be the new big thing. And so we are in this field now. So it's a pretty robust area of activity for us. Nearly 50% of our new business is coming from cybersecurity, though we just started only 2 years ago. So that probably speaks more of the field than about us, I would say. This is an exploding space.
Gotcha. So Megan, what made you decide, that you wanted to go into human resources and recruiting? What was your main passion for that in pursuing a career in that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I worked for Walt Disney World for several years. It was a really neat experience getting to work in the theme parks, and ended up moving into the banking industry following that. And in both of those career paths, I had a lot of time where I was working in training. I became a lead trainer at Disney, and it turned into an opportunity to be one of the main trainers that would do things like the main orientation for any new cast member coming into the company. And it was always really neat to kind of see the excitement and the joy and the passion in new employees or cast members' eyes, and just the joy that they felt in coming to work for that organization. And it was really neat to be a part of that process. So that's kind of what started my interest in HR. As far as recruiting, kind of fell into it. When we started our company about 3 years ago, myself and one other individual came on in the HR department, and we really just split the tasks sort of down the middle, where we were doing a lot of everything and getting a lot of that generalist experience, which was really great to have. And over time, it just kind of fell that recruiting fell in my lap and payroll fell in her lap, and we just kind of divided it going forward. And it was kind of a scary thing. I'd only done a little bit of interviewing as a manager in Bank of America, but over time really honed in on that skill and reached out to learn from others in the industry. And now I find it to be probably the most rewarding aspect of my job, where I get to talk to people all day long, every day, and just learn a lot about different individuals and find the right people for our organization. And then I get to watch them grow and flourish, which is awesome.
Wow. Yeah, that definitely sounds amazing and very rewarding. Thank you so much for sharing that, Megan. So my next topic I want to speak with Srinivas about. So I know that you, as an executive and an owner for your company. You wear a lot of hats. But what would you say, what percentage of your current position is directly working in the security aspect of your client's network?
Client's network. Okay, so I mean, cybersecurity is a vast field, and we do a lot of those aspects of cybersecurity. So we do security audits, vulnerability assessments, penetration testing, and for a variety of assets. So network is one of them. In addition to network, we also do for applications, web applications, mobile applications, and we also do for devices, and we do for cloud infrastructure, and data in all stages, data at rest, data in motion, data in operations. And last but not the least is identities. So that is a critical area of vulnerability in most systems, IT systems these days. So we cover all these aspects. There are about six of those, including network. And we believe in zero trust. So you approach security with the zero trust frame of mind, I think you will be golden. So as far as business volume is concerned, as I was mentioning earlier, we do nearly 50% of our new bookings in cybersecurity now. So because we are in business for 23 years, we have a lot of other technologies also at play, web, mobile, cloud, DevOps, automation, and all that. But good part of our new business is in cybersecurity.
Gotcha. So I know you mentioned this about cloud. So I wanted to ask, how relevant, I know the times are changing, cybersecurity must be completely different throughout the years, a lot is changing. How relevant would you say the cloud is, and how do we better prepare for roles with working in the cloud?
Is that for me, Diana?
Yes, that's for you.
Oh, okay, sure. So cloud is not just important. I mean, it's critical now because of its rapid adoption. The organizations of all sizes, small, big, very big, they are just embracing cloud. It's the ones that are already in cloud, they're expanding footprints of cloud. So it's just new normal. So that said, when it comes to cloud security, our experience is, unfortunately, it's not very well understood by many. The folks that are kind of getting their feet wet, or even in fairly advanced stages of cloud adoption, they kind of tend to think cloud security is CSP's responsibility. When I say CSP, cloud security provider, likes of Amazon, likes of Google, Microsoft. So the assumption is these guys will take care of security, but the fact is the cloud security is a shared responsibility. There is a part of it on the side of CSP, there's a part of it on the side of the user. So this understanding is not available for most. So I mean, we fill that gap. So cloud security is an important aspect of cybersecurity overall.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's definitely something to think about. So one more question for you. Does your company, would you say, works more as a red team based or blue team based in your day-to-day?
So we have engagements on both sides, but typically when new customers engage us, it starts on the red teaming side. We start with security audits, vulnerability assessment, penetration testings, that kind of stuff. And we do the testing, we do the retesting, we provide this exhaustive report. And sometimes customers have their teams in place to take care of the remediation needed for the identified vulnerabilities. Sometimes they don't. So when they are in need of assistance to fix the problems that we identify, I mean, they call us again, to kind of help them remediate. So there we kind of go on the blue teaming side. But that is the first time round, So the come renewal time, because cybersecurity is an ongoing exercise, come renewal time, they always include us as a part of the team. So we start with the red team typically, then we become, integral partner.
Gotcha. So I did want to mention, because I know obviously you're the CEO of a company, worked your way up, worked really hard. So for our students and graduates, how would you pivot field within IT? So let's say someone's trying to get promoted from within or have a more senior level throughout the years. Would you guys look at more certifications or more education, or how would you say the best way is to move upwards in IT and cybersecurity industry?
This is a good question. So IT in general and cybersecurity in particular, I would say having certifications is a way to go. Because before I elaborate on that, I mean, I'm in this IT industry for about 31 years. And I work with many clients, many seasoned IT professionals, with lots and lots of experience. They're all gurus in their respective technologies. But the very same people, when it comes to cybersecurity, it's not uncommon to find that they don't really know much. Their knowledge is kind of, not there. So that is one reason why this industry is exploding now, because most organizations have suddenly realized that they are not geared up for the kind of security posture they need. And the existing teams do not have the skills that they need. So there's a mad scramble happening in staffing up. And most, in fact, we work with so many companies on government side, on the commercial side, the number of new positions being filled, majority of them are in cybersecurity in the technology space. So the company is going from a footprint of about 80 people to 1,400 people in the last 4 years, one of the major banks that we work on the East Coast. And a government agency in California, they went from a team of 4 to 18 in a space of 2 years. So the massive hiring is happening. Now, to come back to your question, the only way you can show to the world that you're good at what you do is with certification. And in the IT world, including cybersecurity, there are many professional certifications available, depending upon the specialization that you choose. So you pick the field that you like and go for certification. Not one, just keep going. The more you have, the better it will be. If you look at our team, average of minimum of 2 certifications are there for every team member. There are some that have even up to 6 certifications. And the career will be golden for folks like that. There's no looking back.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's definitely helpful. I hope all the students wrote that down and are listening carefully, because I'm glad that you're giving good advice on how to move forward within the industry, which is great. So my next question actually can either be Megan answer or yourself. But as far as like staying relevant in the industry, there are various companies out there that our candidates look at in terms of trying to find a good job. What advice would you give to a candidate to look for in discovering like whether an organization is a good fit for them, whether it's personally or professionally? What are some clues that should tell them, this is a good company that I should apply for, or this one wouldn't be that great? Are there any sort of like clues or things that you guys would recommend looking into?
Yeah, I'll start. So just from a recruiting standpoint, I speak with candidates all across the country who have all different experiences. And something that I've noticed is a lot of candidates have not done their research prior to applying for jobs. They look at a job description and say, there's XYZ listed here on the job description. I can do that, let me apply. But they're not researching the company beforehand. And so I really would always encourage candidates to do their homework, go to the company's website, review the website. Is it up to date? Is there missing information? Do they have a mission or a vision statement that aligns with your personal values? Do you see things on their website that speak to you as an individual? Because a personal connection to your organization can be very, very powerful and make you want to work harder for them, which of course then in turn can benefit you in the long run when it comes to compensation and opportunities to move up. Additionally, I highly recommend that you check out their LinkedIn page or their Indeed pages, Glassdoor. Look at the different job sites and review their ratings. Are they highly rated by their employees? Have their employees left reviews? Are there employees in that exact same position that you're looking to apply for who have left a review, positive, negative, or otherwise, that can give you an indicator as to how your experience might be at the company? A lot of times it'll give you insight into the things big or small that could potentially make or break the position for you. Think about what you are really passionate about and what you want to get out of a job as well, and find a company that offers those opportunities. Are they, just having one position for you and there's no room to grow, but you want to continue to grow? Try to find those companies that have those opportunities, and ask a lot of questions when you are interviewing. Come up with a list of questions, go into your interview with a list of questions. Things like, what do you as the interviewer like best about your organization? That can be very telling, but also maybe ask them, what are the challenges? I think that is something that hardly anyone asks me. And the first time someone asked it, it made me stop in my tracks for a moment, because I really had to then critically think about that question. And I think you're more prone to get a more accurate answer that way. You're not just going to get lip service from someone who's speaking on behalf of the company. So really think about those types of questions. And then, maybe look on LinkedIn, see if you can make connections with individuals within the company and reach out to them and ask those types of questions of what their experiences are. I found that a lot of people have reached out to me directly through LinkedIn, and I found it a very valuable feature to connect with potential future employees and help share with them more about our organization and address any questions and concerns that they have.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, Megan. That was really insightful. I think the students will gain a lot from that. So my next question, I actually want both of you guys to answer. So Srinivas, I'll start with you. Just as a CEO, kind of manager perspective, when you're interviewing someone, do you look for, or what are some, non-technical things that you look for during the interview, or maybe some, interpersonal skills? Is that important to you, or how do you go about that?
Yes, it is very important to us. I think it's important to, I would say most jobs, if not all jobs. And we are interconnected in the world, so I don't think there are many jobs that will allow you to be in total isolation and still be successful. And particularly in our line of work, we are in services business. We solve our customers' problems, and which means we have to interact with our customers quite a bit. So they have to be comfortable not only with the technical skills and the solution that we provide, but also, the time that they spend with us. So the interpersonal skills are critically important, in IT profession, and more so in cybersecurity. Because as it is, it's a touchy subject. So, there has to be, so with your knowledge, with your skills, the comfort also needs to be provided.
Gotcha. Okay, great. And Megan, as a, HR generalist, what do you think, or what do you usually look for when they have all of the technical skills down, but what do you look for in terms of the non-tangibles?
Absolutely. So communication is going to be my number one. Can you verbally communicate with me? Can you respond to my emails and have good written communication? Do you respond to my emails if I send you a message, or if I give you a phone call and I get your voicemail? Do you call me back? Is your voicemail message something that isn't just a generic greeting and I know that I'm leaving a message for you? Those things can actually make a really big impact, because if you think about it, in the space of IT in particular, quite often you are working with people in other departments of another company or within your own company. And so you have to be able to effectively communicate to those individuals as well. You need to know how to speak in someone else's language. For example, me being in HR, I have a very broad level understanding of things that the people in my IT group do. But if they were to speak to me in more technical terms, I may not understand that. So someone who can communicate well, also someone who has really exceptional customer service. I find that that goes hand in hand with communication, and then just attention to detail. I want to know that you're detail oriented. I want to know that you are not going to miss small things that can make a very large impact. And so attention to detail, I feel like in any industry, but really emphasized here, of course, in IT, is incredibly crucial to being successful in any role that you take on.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's definitely great advice and something that our students and graduates will keep in mind when they're interviewing and speaking with, whether it's IT manager, human resources. It's always good to keep this advice in mind. But Srini, so I know you spoke briefly about certifications and stuff like that, but do you have maybe like a list of what would be the best, 3 top certifications where you would see on a resume and say, I want to interview this person? What is the best kind, like what are the best certifications you would advise our students to have?
Okay, so is it for cybersecurity or is it for IT in general?
For cybersecurity.
Okay, so again, cybersecurity, it has become quite vast by itself. So for technical folks pursuing career in security audits, vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, that line of work, I would believe Security Plus is a good certification to have. CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker, is a good one to have. OSCP is a really good one to have. And if you can aim for this particular one, CISSP, I mean, you're golden. Trust me, you made your career. That's it. So that would be, your goalpost, CISSP. If you're not there, try to get there. 1, 2, 3, 5 years time, doesn't matter. For non-technical folks, particularly the managerial line, there are some certifications available like CISM. In the industry, we call it CISM. And if you want to kind of go a step above, it's a CISA, CISA. So these are for non-technical folks. And on the operations side also, there are certifications available, but they're tool specific. So depending upon what your students are interested in, yeah, I can give you a list of certifications they might want to look at.
Gotcha. I hope all the students wrote all of these down because that's definitely very helpful. Thank you for sharing that. So I want to move on to our third topic, which is the importance of personal branding. And I know, Megan, you definitely covered this, spoke about, LinkedIn and reaching out in other ways versus, just email or phone call. But would you say, whenever you interview someone, are you looking for cover letters or what's something else that stands out in terms of like other things other than certifications?
Yeah, so with cover letters, I kind of say maybe. And the reason for that is because sometimes there is going to be a job that maybe your resume itself doesn't speak to you being fully qualified for, but there's something that your resume isn't telling. In the cover letter, I would explain that. Or perhaps you took a break from working for a short time because you had to stay home with a child or something like that, and you're trying to get back into the industry. Maybe in your cover letter address, these are the things that I have done in my time off to stay relevant in the industry, and highlight that, because your resume may not tell me that whole picture. So I think that then it's a good opportunity to write a cover letter and include that. I'll be honest, probably 90% of the hiring managers that I talk to and have worked with don't really look at and read cover letters the majority of the time. They may skim it a little bit, but if there isn't something that on your resume we're kind of questioning or maybe, you know, wanting a little bit more information on, we're really focusing in on that resume. So what I think is the most important is to make your resume stand out. Also make it as clear, concise as possible, because I will see some resumes that are 5 pages long and it's just so much information. A really well-designed resume can make your resume stand out. It makes you, as a hiring manager or recruiter, remember that resume. It's something as simple as you maybe have a panel on the side of your resume, and that's where it says education, certifications, skills, all of that, while your experience is down the other 3/4 of your resume. And it can just divide it up really nicely so that it's appealing to the eye. I have a lot of hiring managers that just tell me that they remember those resumes and they will go back to them and refer to them much more than something that is just very plain looking. So I think that making your resume stand out with a design aspect is actually a lot more powerful and beneficial than you might think. Those certifications are fantastic. We're looking for them, but also I want to make sure that I can see them. So also put those in a place where I am going to see those certifications, your education, your background right away.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's definitely very important. So thank you for sharing that. Srinivas, I did want to ask, as a CEO, would you be more inclined to maybe interview someone who has messaged you on LinkedIn or has just a great social media LinkedIn presence, or does that matter to you?
It does matter to us, yes. It does matter to us. In fact, we encourage our teams not only to keep their profiles up to date on LinkedIn and other social media, but also actually encourage them to be very active. So if you go to our company's LinkedIn page, you find actually posts from many of our team members, you know, on their respective areas of interest. Somebody talking about DevOps, somebody talking about cybersecurity, you know, and on and on. And some people are kind of just posting some important news bits. Some people are actually writing up articles, you know, so that kind of stuff. So we encourage it quite a bit in our company. And our clients seem to appreciate that also.
Gotcha. Well, thank you guys so much. Unfortunately, Mark could not make it. So I think we're going to move on to our Q&A. I know we have some exciting questions that I saw rolling up. So I'm going to pass the floor over to Samantha, and hopefully, you know, we have some good questions in the works.
Sure. Let's move right on to Q&A. If the students have more questions, now would be a great time to drop those in there. We have a little bit of extra time for the Q&A, so go ahead and drop those in. But let's get started. The first question is for Srinivas. Question is, would you consider hiring a person that is still in school learning the fundamentals of cybersecurity? If yes, what do you look for in a person without that experience?
Is that for me, Samantha?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah. So yes, the short answer is yes. So the fact that someone is still in school is no issue at all. But what is important to us is the skills and the activity that person is participating in. Let's say because someone is in school, it's understood, you know, he or she may not have experience. But there are a lot of things one can do to build confidence and to build expertise. Let's say in the area of cybersecurity, you know, you could participate in hackathons. You could participate in bug bounty programs. You know, so things like that. So if you are showing initiative and participating things like that, yeah, we would love to have people like that.
Absolutely. Does your company have any sort of training to help those newer employees in the industry gain more training?
We don't have a formal training setup ourselves. Yeah, it's essentially on-the-job training.
Okay, perfect. Okay, another question for you. You mentioned that 50% of the business came from cybersecurity within the past 2 years. How much of the business can be fulfilled by an entry-level cybersecurity worker?
Okay. Again, cybersecurity is a vast field because we do work in 3 different buckets. One is security audit involving vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. That's one bucket. The second one is a compliance. We assist companies in achieving certain security certifications, be it SOC 2 or ISO 27001, things like that. Our third bucket is a security operations center, SOC operations. So as far as, I mean, there is a room for, the fresh graduates, folks in coming off school for any of these 3 buckets. Only thing is, they have to be placed in projects where the other teams to kind of, handhold them and, so I think, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so we have, like always, a bunch of certification questions. So I'm just gonna knock all of those out really quickly. So this first one is, would you say that the certification for Splunk is relevant or useful?
It's both, provided you are going to be in that line of work in cybersecurity. If you are going to be in incident response, threat analysis side of cybersecurity, yes, it is very critical. And Splunk is a good tool. And it is a widely popular tool. So yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine being in Splunk.
Great. When you say certification, which certifications would be the good ones to make myself stand out in cloud security? Yes,
so in cloud security, there are quite a few available. And so there's a Cloud Security Alliance, CSA. So you can look at their certification. And there is ISC Square. So they also have one for a cloud security professional. They both are pretty good. They're gold standard.
Great. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, let's grab a question for Megan. Megan, can you describe the recruiting process? How do you look for new recruits? How do the interview stages progress?
Yeah, so what we often do at our organization is we post a job typically to Indeed. That's the largest job seeker platform that you're going to find jobs on. So I always recommend looking there, applying to a job. And then we will review all of the applicants and make decisions based on what they have sent in. If there's screening questions that we asked, and then also based on their resume, and if they had a cover letter, we may be looking at that as well. And then requesting to do an initial phone interview with them. Typically, we go through about 3 rounds of interviews at our company. In IT, we usually have one that is just a more basic phone interview to just kind of get to know the candidate, learn a little bit more about them, and make sure that they can work within the set criteria that our company has in place. Like, for example, you have to be able to commute to this office. If you can't, you aren't going to be able to do the job function. Then we also do a more in-depth interview, which talks much more about your background, your experience, some of those technical skills. And then usually we end it with a technical assessment of sorts. So typically we have 3 rounds of that. And then at that point, we will reach out to a candidate to let them know whether we're going to proceed with them or if we are going to move into another direction. Additionally, I source a lot of candidates off of LinkedIn. This is why, to points earlier, we really should make sure that we are all active on LinkedIn. I know that I, even myself, could be a lot more active on LinkedIn. It's a great tool. And if you are active, keeping everything up to date as possible. And then also, please just check your LinkedIn mail. So many people do not keep an eye on their emails that come in through LinkedIn. So keep an eye on those, because a lot of times I'll be reaching out directly through LinkedIn to contact candidates who we might be interested in.
Great. So questions are popping up because of your answer. So we'll go to these. Instead of applying through job sites, would emailing the manager directly hiring from the company be a better look as far as doing your due diligence?
Love that. So I think that that is showing great initiative to reach out directly. It also shows me that you researched our company, that you went to our website to try to figure out who those hiring managers might be, or even your head of HR or someone in HR. If you do that research and reach out to them directly and just let them know that you're really interested. We actually just hired someone, not in IT, but in a different position that way about 2 weeks ago in our organization. They reached out. We never would have seen them otherwise. They had never seen our job posted on Indeed. They just heard about our company, wanted to express their interest, and now they are a fantastic asset to us. So I absolutely think that that's a great way to stand out. Also, if you happen to have a phone number, I get people who call me directly and just say, hey, I applied, but I know a lot of people are going to be applying for this position because it's a very competitive job market right now. So what I want to do is I want to set myself apart and just let you know and express my interest again. Taking that extra step really makes a big difference. And actually, that's how we hired one of our recent IT professionals, by doing that.
Perfect. And great segue into this last question. What is the turnaround time during the interview process that is appropriate to follow up with the employer as a candidate?
Absolutely. So I personally always will try to tell a candidate, if I speak to them myself, this is our hiring timeline. We're hoping to, for example, maybe make a hire by May 31st. So you will be hearing from me throughout the process. But if you, for some reason, aren't hearing from me within a week with an update, please reach out. That's what I personally say. A lot of people might not say that. So what I would recommend is that you ask before you get off of a call what an expected turnaround time is. And if they tell you a week, but you haven't heard back after that week, I would wait the full week, give them another maybe day or two, and then reach back out. Just again, express your interest, say, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate meeting with you. I just wanted to follow up and see if there was any further information I could provide. Something very simple. Don't sound desperate. I know that that might sound, basic, that you wouldn't be doing that, but I've gotten a lot of desperation emails before. And it just had to be something like our hiring manager got delayed because of a project they were working on. So if they give you a timeline, follow up just shortly after that timeline expires. But, again, don't be too persistent and desperate seeming, because sometimes the process will take a little bit longer than they are expecting.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much, Megan. Okay, moving back to Srinivas, we have some more questions. Apart from certifications, how do you suggest to move from IT development to the information security department?
Okay, so if it is in your same company, it's probably a little easier. So it is, people know you and there is a need, so they need to staff up the department. It's probably much easier. But if you're trying to, move out of your current employment, yeah, it's the usual way. I think Megan would be the best person, perhaps to advise this. Yeah, all the things that one has to do to kind of, be in front of right opportunity, so look out for, jobs through portals, through LinkedIn, keep your LinkedIn up to date, and be very active, so show your inspiration to be in a new line of work, and people will take you up on that.
Great. Okay, so some of these questions are more personal to the students. So if you can just give your best answer, like your best answer to what you would suggest that they do in their circumstance, if that makes sense. So this says, do you think it's important for someone to have a background in logistics and supply chain in order to protect that industry from cyber attacks? Let's say a medium knowledge, but with business experience. Or would you rather hire an expert on cyber attacks specifically?
That is too general a question for me able to answer. I guess a little more detail would help.
Yeah, and I can jump in here just a little bit too, and just say that what I've learned from a lot of professionals in my company itself is that we are really looking for someone to come in with a certain amount of knowledge, because any company that you go into, you are going to have to learn their product, their industry, exactly what they are doing specifically when you are at that company. So for me, it's going to be more important that you have that background knowledge, that you can come in and be successful and more of an expert in cyber attacks, and showing me maybe where some of my company's gaps are, or areas that we could improve upon. And you, of course, are going to learn more about my company specifically when you are in the job training, because every company, every organization is going to be a little bit different. But again, this also goes back to do some research on your own before you start with that company, learn a little bit more, about that organization prior to starting there. And I think that will really help too.
Absolutely. How should an employee ask for support assistance to pursue new certification, continued education?
Yeah, so I think that you can really share your passions with your direct manager and say that these are the next steps that I would like to take in my career. I think that companies really should be valuing their employees and helping them take those next steps, because if an employee wants to grow within your organization, that's only going to benefit you. You don't want someone to stay stagnant in their career. So it is up to you, though, as an employee, to ask those questions and to be in charge of your own career path. It is not my job as your manager to say, hey, I want you to go get this certification and I want you to move on to the next step. You need to own that part of your career process. So have those open conversations. Maybe if you have one-on-one meetings with your manager, talk to them and bring that up and say, hey, down the road, this is the type of thing that I'm looking to get into. How can you maybe support me in this? But also be a really hard, diligent worker, be someone who is invaluable to the team, that they are going to want to put money and pour resources into you as an individual to help you grow within that organization.
Yes, I love that thought of making yourself invaluable, right? It's exactly where you want to be in an organization. Great answer. So this is a very broad question. So maybe if we can just give like your number one answer. What other ways can a student show that they really want a job?
Oh boy, very broad for sure. If you are including a cover letter, I think that's a great place to put it. You don't necessarily need an objective statement anymore in a resume. That's kind of outdated at this point. But you can put a tag on your LinkedIn profile and on your Indeed profile that says actively looking for a job or actively searching, ready to start ASAP, something like that. And if you put that tag on your profile, it also notifies us as a hiring manager that, oh, this person's really eager to find employment and be ready to work for us. So that can really help too.
Okay, so this is another one that's kind of personal to the student, so we'll do the best we can. I'm currently a cybersecurity student in the bootcamp program. I am passionate about cybersecurity and seeking ways to grow and learn as much as I can. I love Blue Team and love playing around with the concept and building network on Cisco Packet Tracer and reading cybersecurity related news, among others. I am pursuing Sec Plus without experience. Am I in good standing for entry-level position? I want more certifications.
Is that for me, Samantha?
Sure, yes.
Oh, okay. Yes. So, these days there are a lot of companies they're building up their cybersecurity practice, and there is more demand than what you can imagine out there for cybersecurity professionals. So, if you do not have experience yet, please do not be bothered about it. There are many companies wanting to kind of bring you in and then kind of put you on the job training. So that should not be a limitation at all. Definitely not in cybersecurity.
Great. Thank you for that. Here's another question that we get a lot, and either of you, if you have knowledge on this, I would love to hear both of your answers. What is the best way to earn a security clearance? So many jobs require it in cyber.
I mean, I don't have firsthand knowledge of it, but my son is going through that process. So his employer is doing it in in the federal government side. So I believe the company has to be positioned. They need to have certain things in place to be able to initiate security clearance for the prospective or current employees. Only few can do that. So yeah, I think you have to find that employer who already has that kind of federal contracts to be able to start the process.
So company sponsored.
Yes, companies.
Megan, if you do not have any gaps to clear up on a resume, as you said, is it looked down upon to not have a cover letter?
I don't think so. I think that quite often it is being courteous to an employer and their time to also not overwhelm them with a lot of information. And just to be as concise as possible while also giving them as much information as possible, I think is going to be important in your resume. But I certainly don't look down on it. Now, if the job says you must attach a cover letter, make sure to put a cover letter in as well, because sometimes they do require cover letters. And in that case, again, it goes back to attention to detail. Read the instructions, make sure that you're including everything that they're requiring of you.
Great. So another LinkedIn question, and it's a little bit broad, so we'll change it up a bit. It says, how do I make my LinkedIn very, very special? But I know both of you spend time on LinkedIn looking at different candidates. So is there a candidate that you can remember or something on LinkedIn that on a specific candidate that really stood out to you that you can remember that did make it very special to you? Is there something specific that you can remember about that?
I would say, I guess for myself, I spend hours every week on LinkedIn. LinkedIn will tell you what percentage of your profile is filled out at the top of it, and it'll tell you how you're doing. Fill out as much as possible. There's a lot of individuals who don't have a photo on their LinkedIn, who don't have their most recent employers. And quite honestly, the ones that stand out for me more are the ones who actually have everything completed, or like 90% of things completed, because there's more information for me to comb through and to look at, and to just also spell check, review everything, make sure your grammar's good, make sure your spelling's good, no typos. And also, if you have people in the industry who will leave you a review, I think those reviews are really awesome. So leave reviews for someone else, and then also have them return the favor and leave them for you. I think that can make a big impact, especially when it comes to IT jobs.
Great. Srinivas, do you have an answer to that? Is there something on LinkedIn that stands out for candidates when you're looking over?
Megan covered it good, yes. So that's pretty good.
Awesome. I think we have time for a few more. Okay, here's a great one. To break into cybersecurity, are candidates expected to at least have a help desk role, 1 to 2 years experience before entering a junior level security analyst role? Or can we dive in immediately once we have the right certifications?
Yeah, you can dive in. Yeah, you can dive in. A lot of folks are getting into cybersecurity with no prior experience. It's possible.
As long as you know what you're doing, right? Good. Great. Okay, let's see. It's a bit of a long one, but we're going to dive in. I currently am changing careers from 15 plus years retail management to getting into the cybersecurity industry through the Cyber Bootcamp. I have been with my company for 8+ years and would like to stay within the company, just change paths into a cybersecurity focus. How would you suggest I go about leveraging my transferable skills from in-store experience into those more technical jobs? And would the company value the in-store experience?
I'll jump in here. So I think absolutely they're going to value that experience because you already have that brand knowledge, the knowledge of what is going on in that location. And so you're also going to be more prone to probably finding areas that could use improvement. I think being very upfront and honest with your direct manager is going to be the #1 key because you need their support to help move into another area and just say, hey, this is something I'm very interested in. I've been pursuing this on my own time. And this is the next step that I'd like to take in my career. But I love this company. I want to stay here. I value everything that you have done for me this entire time, but I would like to continue to expand here at the organization. Could you help me do that? And present it that way. And then also maybe set up meet and greets with people in another department that you're looking to get into. Make those connections, make yourself visible. And again, make yourself someone that they do not want to lose, because if they aren't giving you that opportunity, they're going to know that you may look elsewhere and they are not going to want to lose you if you are someone who's invaluable to them.
I love that idea of meet and greets. That is a great idea. Awesome. Okay, we've got 2 more. So we're going to take these last 2 questions, and that's going to be all that we have time for. And we might not even have time for these 2. So here we go. My question is, would someone with financial industry experience enrolled in a cybersecurity bootcamp program, do you think combining these 2 would give me a better opportunity finding good jobs along with some certs?
Absolutely. I'm in the financial services industry. Someone who has that knowledge coming in is going to be incredibly valuable to us in our organization. So I think that that's great. And then again, your point of getting those certifications, absolutely. That's going to be crucial as well. But that background is, again, going to make your resume stand out. If you have related industry experience, that's going to make me remember your resume.
Perfect. Okay, last question, y'all. Here we go. So as a student who is making a career change from a non-cybersecurity industry, food and beverage world, business and marketing 10 years, I'm working on Sec Plus and Splunk certification. In my spare time, been doing CTFs, set up a home lab with different VMs and computers, and this weekend doing mentoring in a high school CTF challenge. Anything else I should be looking at doing?
That was a good start. But listen, if you are in the IT industry and more so in cybersecurity line of work, you are essentially signing up for a lifetime of learning. You never stop to learn. And, that's the way it is. So the industry is changing so fast. The things we know today, they're not relevant, tomorrow. So we got to kind of keep learning, keep improving. So what you're doing is great. Keep doing that. So you'll be in good shape.
Awesome. Well, we are right on time, everybody. So thank you so much. This was so great. And I love that we had extra time for Q&A because we got so much great insight from everybody and great questions, students. Thank you guys for being prepared. We are right on time, so I will let everybody go. Please take the time to answer that 30-second survey. I promise it's 30 seconds, so please complete it. We will send out the recording of this. You will have it available to you pretty quickly. And thank you so much to our panelists and Diana for being such a great moderator. And we look forward to our next event. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Bye.
all. All the best.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.